Welcome to Maxim Foods Inside Track. What a fortnight it's been in Australia. Omicron really taking hold. Case numbers climbing rapidly on the east coast. Seeing some real disturbances to our supply chain. So it's been very challenging for whether you're in manufacturing, in warehousing, in delivering. It's really posing some real challenges for our customers and suppliers. Not looking to correct itself anytime soon. We're seeing a lot of staff members either home with COVID or in quarantine because they're a close contact. So really tricky for everyone in the industry at the moment. Challenging for the next quarter. We don't see a silver bullet that can fix these, but we're a resilient bunch in Australia, so we'll work through it and help each other out along the way. Starting off with full cream milk powder. So I guess the general tone of the dairy market at the moment is that globally supply is short and demand is still very strong, which means that as a result prices are climbing. So on whole milk powder on the GDT last night we saw a 5% increase and we saw pricing nudge over 4,000 US or nearly to 4,100 US. So yeah, we're not at historical highs, but it is very high. The futures market did predict about a 4%, so it is in line with expectations of the futures market. We see a lot of broad demand for whole milk powder across the globe. It's not just one region, wanting product. So demand's still really strong. We see a lot of people with short positions that were scrambling for stock as well, which drives that price up. Yeah, we keep saying this, but we don't see any fundamental relief in full cream milk powder pricing. There's no fundamental shift in supply or demand that we foresee that will change pricing on the trajectory that it is. So it's going to be a firm outlook for the next quarter to 6 months. Moving across to skim milk powder. Skim milk powder, like whole milk powder, a big jump last night on GDT of 5%, nudging nearly towards 4,000 US dollars. Some record highs there on skim milk powder. Once again, the demand was quite broad across the markets, and it was also broad across products. So the EU skim reached a record high last night, which is meaning that it's not only New Zealand centric, that demand for New Zealand product or New Zealand skim. The EU is also in hot demand. Probably means a lot of people as well, a lot of buyers are scrabbling for stock as they have short positions. Obviously with supply chain issues, people are really scrapping for stock, therefore driving the price up. Yeah, where the end or where the top of the skim market is, I'm not too sure, but it's only about 150 US below full cream milk powder or whole milk powder at the moment. So interesting times for skim, but yeah, short supply and really hot demand. Having a look at butterfat. So butterfat, once again, sounding a bit like a broken record, but a big jump in butter, 5%, and a neutral result in AMF. But yeah, once again, really sort of simplifying it. There's some really hot demand out of the US. US pricing has really spiked over the last fortnight. So US butter now sitting above oceanic pricing. EU butter is in line with oceanic pricing, but given freight, it's a lot more expensive to get it over this side of the country. So yeah, butterfat, like all commodities on the dairy side, still on an upward trajectory, and there's no fundamental reason for butterfat to drop off. And yeah, we're seeing a pretty firm 6-month forecast there. Having a look at cheese now. Cheese is an interesting one. Having a look in the US, we have an inverted spread, as they call it. So barrel pricing has actually exceeded block cheese pricing, which means that there's higher demand for processed cheese in America at the moment. Very hard to get product out of the US, so that makes it quite a confusing puzzle to put together. But pricing definitely on the rise in the US. US. In the EU, pricing also on the way up, demand quite strong, and in New Zealand, Australia, GDT was flat last night. However, demand is still quite high for cheddar. So yeah, the same sentiment globally is that cheese is on the up. It's in shorter supply, and this is probably more affected by supply chain conditions. Hard to get product out of Europe, hard to get product out of the US. So yeah, while that disruption continues, pricing will remain firm. Finishing off with whey powder. In the EU, we're seeing a lot of cheese processors gaining record pricing, selling off their whey powder to protein manufacturers. Protein, very much the same picture. It's in a hot demand and supply is limited. So we're seeing some really firm pricing if you can get your hands on WPI or WPC, for the next 6 to 9 months. There doesn't seem to be any correction in that market in the near future. For general sweet whey, much the same. It's in short supply, hot demand, so pricing to remain firm. Thanks for listening to today's Inside Track. Like I mentioned at the start, supply chain issues are really challenging at the moment. So yeah, just a word to our customers: if you could be as organised as you can in these challenging times. There is a lot of pressure on delivery drivers, warehouse staff, etc. So we'll do our best to get product to you in time and in full, and we can work together on getting through this challenging period. Stay safe, and I'll see you in a fortnight's time.